Hi Libra, welcome to February 2018. We have two eclipses this month. That is, I guess, the main attraction. But it mostly, I think of eclipses just like I think of a full moon or a new moon. They just have a little more of a punctuation, exclamation point or something next to them, and can work just as any new moon or full moon can with timing events. Often what I see in a person's chart, the little tiny quick moving marker is somebody's moon will hit, a very specific important conjunction or angle in a chart. The moon definitely can time events, and so that's mostly what I think we witness, or I witness as an astrologer. For you, the way it feels, sometimes, you'll just feel occasionally in a more emotional, you'll have a notable emotion sometimes because it's the moon. Or it could just be that something occurs around that time, and typically, although it can seem blurry and not as distinct, but typically with a full moon we see kind of a fullness and completion point, the ending of a phase of time. It marks kind of a milestone or a jumping off point that can show the end of what came before. And the new moon can mark something that seems like it's marking what's coming next. They're like little doorways. So when we go through a doorway, we leave behind the room or the place where we were, on the other side of the door behind us. And then we're entering this thing that's in front of us. So, we're always doing that. It's kind of funny because every day we wake up, every moment of the day we're doing that. We're leaving the last moment behind. These are just like a little bigger, like the doorways are a little more pronounced and the demarcations are a little more pronounced, but we're always leaving the moment that we were just in the past and entering the new moment. I think the moon, these kind of phases of the moon that make it seem a little bigger, is really just to teach us a truth about life. That we're always doing this, but this shows up as, oh wow, we leave behind the moment we were just in, or the phase we were just in, and we enter a new phase. It's like to teach us, like to get it into our heads over and over again each month as the moon cycles through and does this stuff. It's like it's giving us a message. You're leaving the past behind again. and when you do that, you're entering the moment you're in the moment now, and then the next moment's going to be your future. The same message is getting pounded into our heads. It has to get in above the noise of all the other stuff going on, but it's as though it's really the moon and sun are just giving us life lessons over and over and over again, because honestly we forget all the time. Even people who, like me, who I think about this stuff all the time, and I forget all the time, and I have to kind of come back to it and be in the present moment, notice that the past is gone. I have to kind of wake up over and over again to that truth. And so the moon's, there it is, all the time, every month, telling us the same thing. There's a full moon, you leaving the past behind, and there's a new moon, you're going into the future. And we just have to keep being reminded in a more profound way over and over again. And we can bring ourselves back to the moment. We don't need the moon. After a while, we can notice, maybe if we're living in the past or we're clinging to something that needs to be released, if we're resisting and digging our heels in, going into the new thing, the moon tells us, you just keep going, you just keep moving through these moments. And most importantly, be in the now. Try to notice where you are right now. What is going on around you? How do you feel? Like if you just kind of hit a pause really quickly and notice your breath, you can just kind of immediately calm down. But just notice these moments when you feel like so much is happening, or maybe when you're resisting change or clinging to something that was before, even an idea that you had before, resisting a new idea. For a Libra, the area of your chart that's hit, it's kind of like the reverse of Aries. The area of the chart that's hit in February with these eclipses is the 11th, fifth house axis. What that means in plain language is your social relationships. If you have children, it includes those. If you have a romantic partner, it includes those, even potential romantic partners. So the new moon could be quite nice. If you're single, it could signal the beginning of a new relationship. It's certainly possible. If you're dating someone and you're kind of like, I just don't know, I want to keep dating this person, that full moon at the right before the beginning of February could signal saying sayonara. With children, there could be, milestones in their own development and what they're doing. The example I gave to Aries was, if your child is applying to college or schools, and this is the time of year you're maybe hearing back, or you're getting that final application in. So the end of January is actually a completion point for a lot of schools, completing that application, the final one. That's usually a deadline for the schools that don't require it earlier. So that's just an example. In your professional world, it can show, or like hobbies, the world of hobbies and what you enjoy. You could have an artistic project, because I don't know your kind of creativity. It could be a writing project, painting, it could be a theater project. There could be some kind of project that's fun for you, where you kind of have some stepping off points over the course of time, beginning at the beginning of February and then into the middle of February. There could be some markers, milestones. Do you know what a milestone is? It's just like a little event that you get through. So let's say it's a writing project, and you complete the writing project, you complete what you're writing about at the end of January, and so right there at the beginning of February there's this completion feeling. And this is just but one example, it can be so many different ways. And then you send it off maybe to get approved maybe you're writing an article for a magazine, and you send it off to be approved. Or maybe you edit it for 2 weeks, and then in the middle of February, February 15th, with the new moon, you send it off to a publisher of some sort. And then, later there'll be another marker down the road, maybe 2 weeks later, or maybe even a little more time, you'll get some sort of reply. Or you could send it off right away at the beginning of February, and then maybe there's a nice new beginning publishing somewhere. And again, this could be with painting, it could be singing, anything you're enjoying as like a little side project. But it can also show, if you really love your work and you think of work as play, if you're one of those people who is lucky enough to have a kind of work that's more like play, there could be these timed events around, the very, 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 bitter end of January that really kind of coincides with that beginning of February. There's some kind of milestone there where something comes to completion, like you seal a deal, you agree to something, like if you're, I don't know, a rock band or a band or any kind of band, doesn't have to be rock. You agree, maybe you've been negotiating back and forth with somebody to get to play somewhere, and you come to some kind of agreement by the end of January, right there at the beginning of February, and then maybe you're actually performing there in the middle of February with that new moon. Those are the kinds of things you can see happen. Some of them are more subliminal and less noticeable in our lives. We just kind of cruise through some of these eclipses with barely batting an eye, and then sometimes we'll find in life where something big does occur, like a memorable event will occur. So I don't know what it's going to be for you. I'd have to see your personal chart. We'd have to see how it jives with your personal chart. But that's the kind of thing. And also with friendships, social relationships, it could be a time of closing down some associations, not because you hate them all, but because if you are moving on in some way, just moving through life, and you're kind of leaving something, like we said, leaving something behind. Sometimes, like if we leave, I don't know if this is exactly it for you, but if we leave a neighborhood and move, we're kind of leaving a group of people behind, and then we're going to a new group of people, our new neighbors. Or even with our kids, if they leave a school or they go on to college, suddenly that whole social group that we've had through the PTA or just kind of casually with all those parents in their elementary school and high school, that kind of dissipates somewhat. If you're much, much younger, it could just show you moving into new territory in your land of friendships and some changes occurring. Maybe you meet because you're dating someone, you meet this whole new group of people through the person you're dating. Or if you do have a hobby, maybe you meet a whole group of people there. And maybe you're kind of leaving some other groups behind a little, or maybe just one person. It just, I'm just giving you some ideas so you understand how the energy works. Toward the end of the month, you have the energy shifting into this area of career. So I do think there's some career stuff here going on. It would be great if for some of you it means that the thing you love to do is what you can actually be doing and maybe earning some money. For some of you it will be that, but not for everybody. But I do think there's some fresh energy certainly coming into your career zone toward the end of February. This happens every year. It's kind of a natural cycle for a Libra to have this fresh energy come in. And you may also be focused on your health, getting checkups, getting routine tests done. It's a natural time to think about your fitness and your wellness. I'm not rolling my eyes. I'm just trying to think. Sometimes my eyes go up when I'm trying to think. Your wellness. I wasn't doing that. But this is just a natural cycle. So just notice that that's what's going on. It's good just to train yourself to notice what's actually going on and to become aware of these cycles in your life, that this is a natural time for you. And if you look back over your lifetime, a lot of new jobs or the feeling of really kind of flowing with something in work can really happen at this time. So it's a great, if you're looking for a new job and timing something, this may be a time when something new does come up for you. So if you're looking for a job, this could be toward the end of February, a time when something kicks into gear. It may be like you get agreement, or you may be starting in that new moon phase right there at the beginning, in the middle of February and toward the end of February. Those are good times when you might be beginning a job or a project. Okay? So mostly you escape kind of the high beam of the eclipse where it's not zapping you personally, but you will have your own experience with it. All right, take care, Libras. I forgot. I always forget this. I'm trying to be good about remembering. If you want a reading, you can find me at www.freshastrology.com. And I also do personal coaching, life coaching, where we work by phone, and the appointments are 60 minutes, a full 60 minutes. 50 minutes just seemed too short. And it's more practical than looking at the chart. The chart can give us kind of a nice framework to look at life and to get some self-understanding, some perspective is what you can get with the chart reading. And those are very valuable and sometimes very reassuring. We can pull out what your gifts are, and it's very self-validating. But for the practical, how do I make decisions? How do I work with this energy? That's something we do in coaching. And it's more of a practical how-to. In addition to that, I'm now doing telecourses, which are wildly fun for me. So I'm inviting you to do something that's wildly fun for me and join in the fun. And I have a new one starting just after the eclipse in February. It'll be 3 Saturdays, not consecutive. We're going to skip one Saturday, but 3 Saturdays. And I timed it because I had some people from Europe who wanted to do my other telecourse that started in January, but the timing didn't work out. So I specifically chose a Saturday morning, kind of late in the morning, so people from California can do it, people from Europe can jump in. Everyone else who's further out in time zone land, let me know what time East Coast time works for you, and give me some suggestions, and I'll try to time some other telecourses that may include you, that make sense for everybody else. I'll do my best. But this one's a Saturday morning, late in the morning, so West Coast people can join, and Europe can join. And this is a focus, kind of a beginner level focus of Venus and money influences in your chart. So we'll be looking at your actual birth chart, and I'll be teaching you a little bit about that, but you can be a total beginner in astrology. You don't have to know anything about astrology. And then I'll do a little coaching around money mindset, abundance thinking, and coaching tools you can practice and use to help you with your money situation or career situation. So go to my website to sign up if you're interested. I'd love to have you on board. So it's www.freshastrology.com. All right, take care.